Hey, Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to F1 Manager 24. It's episode number 7. We're back at it. We've resumed play after the 2-week hiatus and a couple of updates. Now, the big thing to save the series is we did continue on, did not restart. We've got to keep our job, and keeping our job is easier said than done when we were in such dire financial straits that we could not upgrade the car. Only 2 upgrades have made it onto the car, but our 3rd upgrade is a day away from being done. We'll immediately get to work on a 4th upgrade, as with a fixed sponsor payout. We actually got a decent payout for the first time and sit on 5.4 million, but we're just about to the end of the month. 1.1 million of that going to expenses, so we've got a little over 4 million to play with and a new sponsor plan to organize. So it looks like we have an energy drink advert cameo once again as a mandatory. We know that this lowers the driver marketability, but after they nerfed the penalties, which were severe before, good timing on that one for us to halt, we're going to have to go a little over the engagement mark to make sure we get the full payout this time. So guided tours, the number one thing that's going to bring us well along our way towards what we need. Race day appearance for Rivas. That does hurt the driver performance rating, and then we can turn around and have the exact same thing for beach. Let's see what we can do without the driver appearances. Factory race day experience, just like effectiveness. Yeah, we'll take that one. We have room for more. Race weekend hospitality, pit crew fatigue, driver mentality. I like this one. It's an affiliate driver that we are doing nothing with, so we'll throw that one in. We have room for 3 more. We still need a couple thousand and then some, right? We needed to get to about 3,000 more. I have a feeling we might have to do the big events. That's driver mentality. We definitely don't want to hurt that. Okay, well, let's start with the race weekend hospitality. Where does that put us? Just shy of 2k and 2 spots left. It looks like we are gonna have to do it. We've got to get above the mark first, and we've got to get a cushion. That's not even gonna get us the cushion. Ooh, that leaves us shorthanded. Okay, well, it is what it is then. It looks like we are going to collect majority of the engagement. We're probably going to be taking actually a little bit less than this one, assuming the mandatory one is going to impact us, but this is still going to get us close to 6 million. Finances have to come first right now. Have to. So our new chassis design is complete. We only have 1 chassis, period. We're very lucky that we're on the summer break, and we will begin at least 3. Yeah, 1.6 million. Let's go a little long term with this. We're not going to be doing another chassis upgrade this year. So covering the long term, 2.2 million for 4 chassis. We will use the last chassis that remains, but that already brings us down to 3.2 million, and we're just a day or 2 away from that being down to 2 million. So for this upgrade, we are going to do a new rear wing with a focus on lowering the weight a little bit, and then massively focused on some drag reduction improvements with all of our hours for the period going into this one design. We're looking at near doubling the effectiveness of drag reduction on the rear wing, which is going to add nearly half a kilometer an hour in top speed. 1.8 million is the cost, just like that. 1 new design and 1 newest design manufactured is all we get for that money. Driver development updates, of course, everything is slowed down by low morale and poor facilities. So only a +1 to overtaking for beach, and Rivas gets +1 to smoothness and +1 to reactions. Well, we're falling into the danger zone of losing staff members while sitting on, and I should have had 300k left over. We had 1.4 million. Turn of the month said 1.1 million in expenses, and we end up 100k in debt, which makes our job even more in jeopardy. So 400k the wrong direction of what it should have been. So either I did the math wrong in my head, or they did the wrong math. It's probably my mistake. Murdoch, our head of aerodynamics, is getting poached by Williams, potentially. And Dubois, our technical chief, is getting poached by RB right now. Signing bonuses aren't huge, but I have zero money to do anything until after Zandvoort, and even then, I'm probably not going to have money with a turn of the month just after that. We are actually in trouble right now for September. And sure enough, both of them have been poached. We are losing 2 staff members now. The latest has an affiliate driver also getting poached. I'm completely fine with that to save the money that we are paying for him. Also, throughout whatever signing bonuses there have been, some of that or some sort of compensation has gone to us. We do have a slight positive balance now. Here we go. We haven't even gotten to a race weekend for anything to change. Yet here we are. With deepest regret, the board have lost all confidence in your abilities as team principal. If you, and ergo the team, do not improve by the end of the season, then we may have to make the difficult decision of letting you go. I believe that you can make adequate changes in this time to prevent that occurring. And it is the team's race performance in particular that we will keep a keen eye on. I've attached the board's current assessment of your performance below. That, of course, is the lost confidence with race performances being disappointing. Yet, 3 times in the last 7 races, after a very bad start to the season, 3 times in the last 7 races, we've either had the 10th or 9th. But we've been 11th every other time. And of course, that negative debt in August not helping us at all. Zandvoort had a bit of a crazy race with some rain late. Verstappen takes the win ahead of the McLarens and then the Ferraris. I've rolled the dice. We're on the verge of losing our job and we have no money. So I've gone for the bigger bonuses. 18th is what we required, and 20th for Rivas, 18th for Beach. Fingers crossed. I also went with the new engine, the new gearbox to help us, and we have not made it. Rivas does get 20th, so we are going to get the 300,000 from Rivas, but Beach finishes 21st. Dead last of the finishers, and we do not beat a single team. So at least we managed to get 1, but yeah, we're in a worrying place right now. Very worrying place. Rivas manages to level up to an 80 overall in the meantime. Down to the last 2 suspensions and the last 2 front wings, and no spare money to do anything with the new ones with the turn of the month coming. Luckily, Monza is in 4 days, so we'll come out of the weekend with whatever bonus that comes there. But we desperately need the bonus to offset the 1.1 million that we're going to lose at the turn of the month. This might be it. I'm nervous. This is going to be our last race in the job. It might happen before the end of the season that we get fired. It might be right here, right now. Depends a lot on how the team performed today. Norris takes the win ahead of the 2 Red Bulls. Beach gets 17th, Rivas gets 19th. We are going to get the full payout. We needed 18th and 20th. Will this have saved our job? Likewise, we've beaten Haas today. It is a 10th place finish as a team. Massive. Might have saved our job. We are coming up into the final third of the season. Double payout, the aggressive bonus, 710,000. Even then, it's going to barely cover the turn of the month. We're going to have the ever so slight positive balance. It's still no spare wings and no spare suspension. It's done it again. We have a negative balance of 100k. Yet again, things have not gone We're supposed to be losing 1.1. We had 1.3. And we have a negative balance. Second month running that the math is not mathing. With that summer break, we've quickly gone right through another month into September, and Beach gains +1 in accuracy, where we get +1 in reactions for Rivas, and both are an 80 overall, though Beach is still clearly ahead. Outside of a couple points in smoothness, she's got that slight edge just about everywhere. I am now out of side pods completely. I have 2 left, 1 on each car, and a failed wing and a failed suspension that cannot be replaced. Baku in 11 days. We don't have money to spend on this. We're screwed. Sponsor plan on the 6th. It's going to come down to emergency parts. Probably. The front wing is probably going to be able to get manufactured before that next race weekend. Wow, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be close. I think we might make it financially, just barely. Target missed again, which of course we were going to miss it regardless, but we do collect 4 million plus the 1.1, so we do get $5 million. Huge help, but even then we're only showing 4 million. We were 90,000 in debt. Okay, they said they fixed it. They haven't fixed it, right? We just collected 5 million. We got 4 million. Situation's better than it was, but it's still not all fixed. We're hanging on. We're surviving, but I do think we're likely not gonna make it through this season. We're probably going to be fired at the end of the year from the way things are going and just the lack of any stability to drastically improve the car. Right, 3 upgrades over the entire course of the year, with a 4th one soon to be ready. Just the car's getting slightly more competitive, yet we just haven't been able to do enough to retain the job. All right, so with the sponsor payout, I've got 2 front wings on the way. That's enough to give us just 1 spare, but both will be there before Baku. Now the questionable one is what happens with the suspension, especially when I've got to wait 2 days for a chassis. Looks like we're going to have to emergency manufacture here in a couple of days 1 suspension. That's going to be expensive. On the sponsor plan, no mandatory activities this time. We didn't get paid for the last mandatory activity. And we're very quickly dropping into a territory of not getting much after just 2. I'm not sure we're going to hit our target yet again. Wow, talk about close. The engagement-wise, we are right on the edge. 100,000 less. I'm going to take the 100,000 less. We're not going to hit the target anyway. Yeah, 8 days for 1 suspension. We have 5 days, which means we are going to have to do rushed. Okay, rushed has an extra 150k cost on it, but it will get us one on that 5th day. 450,000. We now have 3 million left. It's early September. We've got a chance to make up some money. Now I think is the time where we're going to have to turn our attention to the staff and the issues we have. Contract expiring for all of them. Murdoch and Dubois are gone. Let's see if we can at least hang on to Mahoney. Let's offer a contract now. Okay. She likes 4 seasons. I like that there's an actual appeal situation. All right, so lowering the salary, increasing the breakout, no lump sum bonus, setting for next season. Let's give time to make a decision. I'm hoping, we're in that optimal range, right? So, and our last affiliate driver is gone at the end of the season. I don't know if we're going to have an affiliate driver, or if we get away without having one. I don't know if it's a requirement or not. I'll find out soon enough. Next regulation vote change is to decrease the cost cap by 5 million. I'm all for it. I like working within a budget, especially when we're on the low side of that. It's gonna be a long time before we are actually flirting with the cost cap. Contract proposal for a new technical chief. LaRue is quite a drop from what we have right now, but in the wheelhouse of some of our other staff members. 1.1 million, 3 years, starting next season, 25K signing bonus. Just kind of getting into the window of there's a good chance they'll accept, but not necessarily. But there's another one at the exact same rating that I have as a fallback if LaRue says no. The suspension done just in time. We're going to have to begin immediately on at least one more, so we have a spare. It'll take 8 days. Normal approach back down to the 300,000 to get that one done, leaving us with 2.8 million for the time being, which is definitely a better financial position than what we've been in for a little while here. Car still comes in last, but we are definitely on the more competitive side than we had been previously. 18th in top speed, DRS is 19th, low speed is last, but medium speed is second to last. High speed also second to last. Dirty air tolerance is last. Tire preservation second to last, and engine cooling third to last. In fact, not even far off from average on the grid. None of that's good, right? None of that equates to being in a good position, but it's just off the bottom pretty much everywhere. The car is generally 9th across the board, or sorry, 10th across the board. Actually, even, 9th across the board in many occasions, 9th or 10th. It's just the collective as a whole still has us at the back of the grid, but it's what's making it more possible for us to get that slightly higher payout and slightly better results and not necessarily last all the time. So for Baku, I went for a mix of a little bit bold, but also a little more conservative on the bonus front. Both cars set to 20th or above, 600K on the line. Verstappen gets another win ahead of Leclerc and Piastri, rounding out the podium. Not looking good so far. Beach's night, okay, 19th and 20th. Signs being out of the race making the difference. We do not manage to beat a single team though, so we collect the 600K, which is obviously nice. The finance is helping on that part, but we do end up in the scenario of not beating a single team yet again, and certainly not doing our job any favors. The reason why I continue to rush through and not do any live races right now is coming down to the simple fact that it's looking pretty damn obvious that we're going to lose our job. I don't want to prolong it. If we're going to have to restart, which would then come with that better base salary, meaning and the sponsors being fixed from the get-go, even though there's still issues with it, it's much resolved from where it was. They're still not getting it right. Yeah, that last sponsor, right? We were $1 million short of what we were supposed to receive. But, and it's a big but, if we're going to have to restart, I don't want to prolong it. I don't want to delay it. I nearly did it from the get-go when we came back out, but it was like, no, I think we could save this. We need some results to save it, and right now that's not happening. In 2 months in a row of a slight negative balance where the math is not mathing, we've ended up 300K worse off than what the financial counter is saying, what the books are saying. So our accounting is not adding up either now. So the problems are persisting in more areas than one, and it's likely costing us our job. And so because of that, doing a sped up first season here with now 7 races left before we hit the end of this first season is making it so that I just kind of want to get to the end of the season and go, hey, do we have our job or not? And we can slow it down a little bit more next season as we are trying to keep our job yet again. gets harder year after year if you're continuing to struggle. Verstappen now leads by nearly 50 points over Leclerc. Sainz getting no points with the DNF, and Norris closing to within 1. But then a healthy drop to Piastri and Perez, and Alonso still getting the best of the wet rest treatment with a car that in real life should not be there. Williams, Albon getting 2 more points, 3 on the season now, all 3 points coming recently, so Williams starting to pull ahead of the back markers, which we're obviously the back marker, but it's between us, Alpine and Kicksauber on a weekly basis of who's the worst, and occasionally Haas or Williams struggle at the back, but I don't think we've really competed with Williams once this season. It's been Haas on occasion and Kicksauber and Alpine the rest of the time, trying to get that finish ahead of at least one team scenario going a little more consistently, and we've only managed to do it once in the last 4 races. With that, Emma Beach is now an 81 overall. She has leveled up, so each driver has leveled up in the recent period. And there is that design for the rear wing. That's going to add 0.5 kilometer an hour plus other benefits, aerodynamic and DRS-wise, but especially that top speed. But now, of course, we've got to get it manufactured. 3.5 million, though, makes that a hell of a lot easier to get the first couple on the go. Yeah, 550,000 grand scheme of things, pretty cheap, and we'll have it pretty quick. But that also leaves our design and research wide open. I think it's time to start our focus into next season. So we're going to start with underfloor and putting everything into that one to get a big gain for next season. Where do we even have? No. Oh, there. Airflow sensitivity. 10% drop. Which, just like that, we've covered off. So the underfloor will be better than this year's version. Go ahead and increase the intensity for the airflow sensitivity to cover that off even more so we get 4% better off. This is like a whole new part, better than $1 million. Not cheap, but it's what you've got to go through to progress bit by bit, inch by inch. And that's our first research project for next year, and that's just one part covered off. And oh man, okay, we have more issues. Bad underfloor and a bad underfloor, and it's failed. So that is the final tier 1, and finally they are both on the same underfloor, but there's also only 2 of them, and as we've already confirmed, we're not doing a new one this year, so we're going to have to spend I can't even manufacture anything right now. Gosh, we are just constantly having issues. Constantly. 3 days, and then we can begin producing 1 underfloor. Decreased cost cap will not happen. 4 teams voting for it, 7 voting against. So Singapore comes to an end. 6 races to go in the season. Verstappen with another win, and it's really starting to pull clear in the Drivers' Championship, while Ferrari has stumbled lately, but we're missing a Red Bull entirely from the top 10. So if we're lucky, that means we've got a DNF for at least Perez. There's no sign of any Mercedes up here. Albon gets 8th place and 4 points. Alpine gets their first point of the season with Pierre Gasly, so not that we were beating them anyway. 2020 was the goal, so 600k on the line. I think we're looking at least at 1 DNF. This might just happen. Please, 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 fingers crossed. Beach is 17th, and there's 2 DNFs. Rivas is the other, and it's Russell. What even happened to... Oh my gosh, there's Red Bull. Perez is 4th. Gosh, I'm blind. Right. Yeah, missed that one. But it's 21st for Rivas, so we only get 300k in bonuses. And do we beat any teams today? No, it's 1 driver from this team, that team, the other team, and the other team. So we finished 17th and still don't beat a team. We finished behind Bottas yet again. So another disappointing day with a decent finish and nothing to show for it. Team's going to be mad. We only get half the payout. Could be worse, but not much. And Rivas with another DNF, her third in the last 5 races, could really be setting us back, because everything we're getting in bonuses is turning around and getting lost by not getting a bonus and getting a DNF with all the parts that we have to replace. And Rivas and Beach have almost identical reactions and ability to avoid crashes, yet Rivas keeps having crash after crash this season. Curse of the number 2 driver? Don't know, but she's having a rough go of things, and it's making a real rough go of things for us. Financially, we've once again, we're spending what we're bringing in, so we're just barely surviving, barely hanging on, and it's rough, folks. It's really rough. But we're into the final stretch of this first season, and the fingers crossed that we can hang on to our job. It's what I asked for. I wanted something tough, and man, oh man, have we found it. I know with the new revamped updates, it would be a little easier. It would still be tough, but it would definitely be a little easier, and we would be faring a little bit better. So if we have to reset, pretty confident that we could hang on and do what is necessary and get that 9th best car to where we could more consistently beat that one team and keep our job and, have the board be content. Right now, they're pretty freaking mad that we are a new team on the grid and giving performances that have us, get 17th, and they should be happy with that. But no, they're not. They are not, especially with what they've given us, right? This is not like Haas coming onto the grid the year they came onto the grid, or the frequency of new teams showing up and teams disappearing in years past. Right now, you've got a very, very locked in so much so that, Andretti can't even get into the grid when they would clearly come in as a competitive team. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.